Good afternoon. Thank you everyone for joining us on this pre-summit interview with Ivan, the Head of Innovation for Swiss Timing, who will be joining us at the Host and Federation Summit in Lausanne, Switzerland from the 12th to the 15th of June. Thank you, Ivan, for joining us. I'd love to begin with your background. How did you manage to get to where you are today as the Head of Innovation at Swiss Timing?
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be on this call and attend the summit. I have quite an unusual background. I worked for 20 years from junior to very executive levels in different sports in various sports federations. My international career started with being the event director and technical director at the European Athletics. I moved on to be the chief executive of the World Series of Boxing, and then from there going to the Ladies European Tour in golf. So, which is also was then not just a European, but an worldwide spanning a series of professional women's golf tournaments. So that's my actual career background. However, because I had studied engineering and computer sciences, in every step of my journey, my sports, basically sports federation career, I tried to use technology to advance my organization's goals and trying to be ahead of the curve, or at least managing to reduce the costs for our organization with the newest technologies. Either they were at the beginning of my career writing code myself, or in later stages using service providers such as Swiss Timing to develop for us new systems in order to advance my sport. The pandemic was certainly quite an awakening for many of us, and for me was it to take a lot of the ideas, technological ideas I had, looking at how the landscape is changing in technology, and to bring my ideas then to Swiss Timing and basically suggesting to them a new ways of offerings of innovation to federations, which is very much focused on data and the buzzwords everybody has with AI. So that was something I basically was developing around 2 years ago, and that accumulated to be then appointed last year by Swiss Timing as the head of innovation. So all that said, it's our services, or my goal is to be very, very client in focus. So our clients being sports federations, and trying to bring the newest technologies and cutting edge technologies to the sports in order to advance their agenda. So that's kind of in short or better or long my career, which has, as I said, been a bit unusual for most people who are working in the tech business.
It's a very, what I like to see as is a very interesting career path. Like you said, you primarily worked in Ladies European Golf. I've also seen you worked at the World Series of Boxing as well. So it's a very varied trajectory. You mentioned the pandemic. Did that produce some of the biggest challenges and issues that you faced in the technology industry?
Yes, it did. And I would say the pandemic, as much as it has accelerated in a number of areas, innovation, it has done the same for sport. There has been a certain number, certain innovations already around, but when there is no crisis, people are hesitant to change. When there is a crisis, then you basically are forced to make the changes. And these changes can be starting from remote production on television. In the past, it was always considered too risky to produce anything remotely. It has to be everything on site with redundancies and so on, and a lot of hardware, a lot of kit, and that basically changed the landscape. Now we are much more, our clients, our sports federations are much more open for us to provide services also remotely, to do remote, for example, TV graphics production, or move many of our systems into the cloud. So being not necessarily on premises. We might be on the edge, so certain devices on site, but we need to see more and more internet and internet connectivity, not as an add-on, but as essential as electricity. You wouldn't be able to produce a major sporting event without electricity, so you need to create the same situation for an internet connection. So that's, I would say, what has pandemic certainly accelerated. There are a number of other things which I see, but to be a bit more concise, I would say remote production, cloud-based solutions. This is what the pandemic has brought to the world of sports in full force.
Definitely. We've started to see, like, it's just like you say, if it's accelerated, everyone's going heading towards the wireless side and having those remote contingencies in place at larger and larger scale sporting events. Obviously, you'll be joining us at the Host and Federation Summit on the 14th of June at a technology innovation workshop. So as you're attending the summit, what are the things you're looking forward to, and what do you think you'll be able to get out of this year's summit?
Well, on one side, it's more from our side to explain what are the newest technologies which can be deployed for the sports, for the benefit of sport. In a way, a lot has changed, or everybody within all the senior executives in the sports, they hear all the buzzwords in the technology world being named. But the question here is, how does that apply to them? And then how does that apply to sport? I mean, another big buzzword is data. Everywhere we are talking about data, but how does, and sport produces, and we do the data acquisitions as Swiss Timing. So we produce billions of data points, but what does that mean for sports in terms of also even from a commercial benefit point of view? So I would be very happy to share my thoughts on this, but at the same time, you know, during the pandemic, we haven't been in touch. It would be good to get feedback of what are the challenges of the sports organizations, what are the newest challenges they have, and it's as always a good networking opportunity. I've been living in Lausanne now for 19 years, so been always in close contacts with most sports organizations, but face-to-face meetings are just, yeah, you cannot substitute them. So it's really great to be back at such an event.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Ivan. Like I said before, it's been fantastic talking to you today. Again, we really appreciate giving up some of your very valuable time to let our delegates know what they can be expecting from you at the Host and Federation Summit in June in Lausanne. And once again, thank you, Ivan, for joining us today.
You're most welcome, and it's my pleasure, and very, very happy to be invited to the event.